Welcome to KB Talks episode 1. We start every episode the same way. We start off with video games, then move on to comic book, movies and TV, then we finish with anime and manga. So let's jump right into it. There's been a bunch of talk about Spider-Man PS5 because Peter has a new face. This is a picture comparing the two faces. I'm fine with the way he looks, but many people gotten used to the way he looked in Spider-Man PS4, so obviously some people would get mad because they decided to change the way he looked. I've seen a few people say Miles look older. He doesn't look like he is the same age as Mary Jane or even Black Cat. I get that when people think of Spider-Man PS4, they think of the original face of Peter. But I'll play Spider-Man PS4 Remastered, see if I get used to the face while playing the game. And we have some other news regarding Spider-Man PS4 Remastered. They're also including the Amazing Spider-Man costume from the Andrew Garfield movies. We don't know yet if they're going to include the Amazing Spider-Man 2 costume. We'll find out later, hopefully. Now we're moving on to comic book, movies, and TV. Disney Plus has found who will be playing the main character of Miss Marvel, and it is Iman Vellani. I heard she's relatively new to the acting scene, but being surrounded by all of the talented actors of the MCU, she can easily get advice on whatever she needs. Next, we have some Spider-Man news. Jamie Foxx is in talks to reprise his role as Electro in Spider-Man 3. For people who don't know, he was previously Electro in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 going up against Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. I hope we get a better Electro this time around. Hopefully they don't attach him to Tony Stark because every Spider-Man villain has been connected to him so far. And if they choose to go a different route, then this would be the first for them. Now it's time to talk about regular old comic books. I have 3 recommendations. The first one is Batman 3 Jokers. It currently has 2 parts out now, and I don't want to give away any spoilers, but it looked like it's focusing around Jason Todd a little bit and how he handled dealing with the Joker and what he'd been through. The next comic is Red Hood and the Outlaws. If you've been keeping up with this run, then you know what they're going through. I won't give away any spoilers, but it's a good issue, especially towards the end. It hits you in the feels if you care about these 3 main characters. And the last comic is J.J. Abrams' Spider-Man. This story is set in the future where Peter and Mary Jane had a child, but Mary Jane died in an attack, and Peter had given up being Spider-Man. He named his son after Uncle Ben, and after he'd given up being Spider-Man, in this universe, most superheroes were killed off. So when Peter's son found out he had spider powers, he didn't know whether or not to use them for good or just keep them to himself. Now we're moving on to manga. I have 3 separate manga chapter reviews. The first one is Solo Leveling. During the last chapter, the main character Jinwoo had left the gate to go save his sister and fellow students. He left behind the Chimera Ant from the last arc to handle the gate. Most of the hunters felt like dead weight because the shadows could handle all the work themselves. But we get to see that thanks to Jinwoo, the students in the class was able to live, but many students throughout the school died. Next, we see the association president and Jinwoo in a car. They're talking about all the things that happened, about his awakening, and how many people trying to recruit him. He's trying to keep Jinwoo from leaving South Korea like one of the hunters that fled to America. He says as the association president, he'll try to fulfill any request Jinwoo has, and he only has one. Let Jinwoo enter high rank gates all by himself in the future. Then it cuts to Jin Ho, who is trying to recruit his cousin to join the guild with Jin Woo. She arrives at the building, they meet up, have a talk, and the guild is created. Then to end the chapter, there's a meeting going on at the association because the association president is trying to get Jin Woo request approved. Last thing we see is Hunter Cha on her phone, and she sees a picture of the newly created Ajin Guild with Sun Jin Woo and the two other co-founders. The next manga is My Hero Academia. It starts off with Bakugo saving Deku and then being rescued by Todoroki. In his anger, Deku makes a mistake and attack Shigaraki in his anger and then gets caught. He ends up in like a dreamscape. We see One for All and Shigaraki, but we also see Deku. They have a little talk. Deku tries to move but can't until he hears a voice and a hand on his head, and it says, "You can't move in this world yet, so let us handle it." And it's All Might Master. The final manga for review will be Dragon Ball Super. This chapter, Goku becomes Ultra Instinct mastered and begins to fight Moro once again. Moro tries to attack, but he just gets washed by Goku from the start. Goku is dodging and blocking most of his attacks till Moro charges up to full power, and we get the technique he used against Broly. Then Goku hits him with a Shoryuken that you can feel all around the planet. Afterwards, bears give him a little bit of respect, saying the way Goku fight is godlike. Goku starts doing his "you can't beat me" speech, change your ways, blah blah blah. Moro tries a sneak attack, but instead get kicked across the field and then has a large rock crush him. He then begs for help and plead Goku not to kill him. Then this is where everything turned left. Goku stops, rips his shirt off, and said, "Let me fight him as an Earthling from now on." Now everybody has a bad feeling. So the arc is coming to an end. I'm guessing 2 or 3 chapters till it's over. I just hope it closes out good, because he talking about fighting as Earthling. He might try to let him live, who knows. And that's it for today's episode. Hope you come back for the next one. Thank you.